Vagnone on 105.9 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Yeah, you are listening to the #1 live talk business show in North Carolina. We hope to inspire, inform, and entertain you because that's what we do here at News Talk WSIC, where your business matters. I'm here with Cherie DeMayo, the Biz Growth Maestro, COO, on call, creating high-performance strategies for exponential growth in business value. And in 1 minute, we're going to introduce our guest. Before we do that, JoJo, fire it up.
Flames can be fierce, but they can also fuel tranquility. Discover the serene side of life with me, Josh Johnson, as we help you explore the world of cigars at Burner Cigar. Ignite your passion for relaxation and elevate your moments.
By now, you should know that's Josh Johnson's voice. He is the owner of Burner Cigar, and Burner Cigar is going on almost 15 years now. Go on by there. Just a great group of people. There is no premium cigar that he cannot get you. It is a huge humidor, wonderful group of people if you want to sit there and smoke a cigar. And you can, if you're on Facebook now or YouTube now, you can see I'm holding up a sign. The sign says, "This cigar is on, Joe." What we want you to do is go by there, hold up the sign, and we're going to give you a free cigar for doing that. And I'm not talking about no little chintzy little cigar. Well, I might give Joe a little chintzy cigar, but if you come by there, tell him Joe sent you, and put this on social media. We will give you an exceptional premium cigar on Joe. Thank you so much for Burner Cigar. We appreciate you supporting us. Okay. All right, Cherie.
Yes.
I want you to introduce our guest because I will destroy his last name.
Yeah, nothing like being put on the spot. Thanks, Joe. Okay, so it is my pleasure to introduce Grant Henegan with Viridien Outdoor Furniture.
Patio Fireplace.
Patio Fireplace. So what I want to say about Grant is he's a serial entrepreneur, and I love serial entrepreneurs. His first business that he started in 1988, he grew from 1 to 350 people, then sold it. But what I loved most in what I read is the fact that true entrepreneurs, whether serial or not, are always continuously wanting to improve themselves, not just their businesses.
That's right.
And so he decided he needed more education, and so he ended up being a part of the Harvard School Manager Program, was selected and graduated in 2002. So think about that for a minute, people. You know, sometimes people think that entrepreneurs have ego, but the best entrepreneurs have a continuous thirst for knowledge to do better and better and better and better. And, you know, since then, he has sold numerous companies and now is president of Viridien, which does outdoor furniture and is just a phenomenal business.
And his store is just right up the street from our studio.
It's in North Charlotte, between Charlotte and Lake Norman in the North Lake area. So tell us a little bit.
Grant, thank you so much, buddy. We appreciate you.
Thanks for being here.
That's a pleasure.
Yeah. So I'd love to know, you recently changed the name to Viridien. Tell the story. There's always a great story behind a name. So I'd love to know a little bit more about what that means so that our viewers and listeners can know more.
Right. So I bought this business from the founder. And the founder was a guy who started a business actually installing fireplaces. So he called his business the Firehouse. What happened in those days, this was in the early 80s, what happened was a lot of the fireplace people were very quiet during the summer months. And they went to a trade show in which they were selling, I don't know if you remember, that sort of PVC outdoor furniture that was all fashionable in the late 70s and early 80s. So he got onto that and started selling this PVC furniture, which was really just pipes that you glued together, put some sling material between it. So and at that time, outdoor furniture was called casual living.
Yes, it was.
Or the fancy word for an outdoor patio was casual living. So he called it the Fireplace Casual Living Store.
Lawn chairs.
Yeah.
Fancy lawn chairs.
And then he started to do, he got onto it and was doing better and better, and he opened a second store. So he changed the name to the Fireplace, the Firehouse Casual Living Stores. Mm-hmm. So when he retired, and he was very successful. He was retired. I had sold a number of businesses, and I was looking for something to do. I tried retirement myself. I wasn't very good at it, and I found this business, and I didn't want to buy a retail business, but I ended up persuading myself to do it. And one of our struggles was to build a brand that, people have been doing business with us for many, many years, but to build a brand, we really needed a simpler, shorter name.
Yeah.
And we really wanted a .com, a name where we could have a x.com.
Yes.
So we hired an agency. We went through many iterations, and one of the problems with trying to get a simple name with a .com is that there's just not that many available. Yeah. So we came up with Viridien, and Viridien really means green. Mm-hmm. Given that we're in the outdoor world, Viridien is the color green, and we came up with Viridien.com, and where we could call our company Viridien Patio and Fireplace.
That's wonderful.
And that's the story.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah.
So Grant, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. We got your name and information from Salonia.
Correct.
So obviously you had a relationship with her and her husband.
Right.
So we thank her. She is a co-host from earlier this year. So it's the nature of this show is to create this type of networking.
Absolutely.
So give me a little bit of your personal background. Because you just said it, you didn't wake up one day and wanted to be in the retail business. So kind of give me a little bit of your personal background.
Well, you can hear I'm not from here. Originally
No.
But I am Southern African, so I come from South Africa. And what had happened is I'd only really had one job. I worked for a big shipping company, and I was transferred very fortunately in the early 80s to New York City, and I worked for them in New York. And at the time, I was hungry to do something for myself. And I had a customer who was exporting or selling things like milkshake machines, etc., around the world. I thought there may be an opportunity to do this in South Africa, and we were able to start a business in South Africa, importing from mainly the US fast food equipment, which was a growing sector in those days.
Yeah.
And we built a business that was a distribution business initially, which was importing and distributing to the fast food and restaurant industry.
Were you doing both at the same time, or did you stop doing the?
No, I left my job. I had very good training. I worked for a very good company. It was a Swiss company, exceptional training. I worked for them for 5 or 6 years, and I think that really set me up to really understand how to run a business and do things, and I really understood the trading side. So that's how I started.
And that particular business, was that the one that got acquired in 2007?
Yeah, we had various. Yeah, we then made our own acquisitions, and we built it into, as we said, a sizable business. And then it was finally acquired in 2007. Mm-hmm. And I worked for the company that acquired us, and I was on the board for about 4 years. And then, as I said, I retired and was pretty bad at it. So.
A lot of entrepreneurs are very bad at retiring.
That story I hear all the time. You get bored after about 3 years. Yep. There's only so much golf you can play or whatever it is your interest is.
Yeah, you're right. So 2 years is the most fantastic 2 years, and then it just goes downhill from there.
So let's talk about your choice to buy this particular business, because I hear that a lot. You can imagine I'm a small business broker. I help people buy and sell small businesses, and I hear that a lot. It's not exactly what I saw myself owning, but I did have this skill set to make it better. Talk a little bit about that, because there's a lot of people out there that can't find exactly what they're looking for, so they're willing to try something else, which is what you did.
Sure. So, I didn't want to start another business. I'd been through that, and I felt I was at an age where I wanted to get something that was already up and running. So the criteria I had is I had a sort of profit number in my mind. I wanted something that was cash flow positive. I looked for history. Did this business have a history? This business had been around 30 odd years by the time I bought it. Who was the management? What did they look like? How long had they been there? So all of that lined up positively. And I got over the fact that it was retail when I looked at when I looked at the robustness of the business. The other thing was that it was a business I could understand. It was furniture, not that difficult. Fireplaces, not that difficult. And every other business I looked at either was very nichey and too complicated, or had vendor concentration. There was just one vendor that drove the whole business, or was 80% of their business,
Ooh.
or one customer
Yeah,
that
big
drove.
red flag. Yeah.
So, and I looked at a lot of smaller businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say small, I was looking, some of them were quite sizable, but everyone had some risk that I feared.
Right.
Sure.
And this seemed to be, I guess, when I looked at it all, the risk was I might have to work on a Saturday. That was
Right. Well, the biggest risk that I looked at when I quickly saw this was that you were really competing with some of the largest retailers in the world, because they all have their moments where they're selling something similar to this.
Correct.
Did you give that some thought? Walk me through that consideration.
Yeah. So I did look at that, and obviously that was a concern. But what I realized is that, what's this business's competitive advantage is that its only focus is on the category that it looks at, which is really the outdoor furniture business. And everyone else, this is a sideline for them. So whether you're a Crate and Barrel or Pottery Barn and these big guys, this is not their focus.
Right. And something that stands out to me, especially with the new name too, is I would think you would have a great source of influencing from architects, from interior designers, from custom home builders, all of those that are really influencing that more custom or unique product.
Correct. And we're not trying to compete with, say, the mass market.
Mm-hmm.
This is in the United States, this is a $10 billion category.
Mm-hmm.
80% of that is done through Lowe's, Home Depot, Target, etc. That's not where we're at. We're really trying to service that customer that is, has a beautiful home, is on the lake somewhere, or has a yard and a pool, and is looking for a lifestyle. This is more of a lifestyle than a need. It's,
Real quick, before we go to break, the address, where's the shop at?
So it's off exit 18, off 77, W.T. Harris Boulevard. It's right on the corner as you get off the exit.
Great. Let's take a break and we'll come back. We'll talk some more. You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, and this is where your business matters. We'll be right back. Yeah! You are listening to the #1 live talk business radio show in North Carolina. This is Local Biz Now, where your business matters. I'm here with Cherie DeMeo. I'm also here with Brad. Brad is the owner of Viridien Patio Fireplace.
Grant,
I'm sorry.
you're right. He messed it up.
Apologize,
Grant
Grant.
Henegan.
Viridien, did I get that right? How did I do with that?
Right. You got that right.
Viridien means green.
Yeah.
Yep.
Correct.
Which is excellent. Okay, so the question I want to ask, I asked when we were just sitting waiting for the show to begin, is the whole aspect of how COVID positively impacted, with a challenge attached to it in the industry, because everyone was forced to stay home, and so they were looking at how they can enjoy their home more. So talk a little bit about the positive impact as well as the challenge that was faced, and how you've segued from there.
Sure. So obviously we had terrific demand. The stores were shut. You all recall they shut down retail. We were part of the retail that was shut down. But when we reopened in the May, so they shut us down in the March, when we reopened in May, the demand was just unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
And that was great for about 6 months. And then we started to hit all the supply chain problems that became so familiar at that time. So what happened is a few things happened. We couldn't get inventory. Freight rates went through the roof because there were all those ships backed up in Los Angeles.
Yes.
There were ships backed up in Charleston.
And when you say this, it means something, because that's your area of expertise and knowledge too. So,
Sure.
So that's interesting
Sure.
statement coming from you.
Sure. And what the consequence of that is that we still import a lot of, whether it's parts or furniture itself, et cetera. Internally, the freight rates also went up. So internal transport or domestic
And you said
transport.
it was like anywhere from 3 to 4 times the freight rates went up.
Correct.
Yeah.
So when you were buying a sofa, probably baked into the price of it, 50% of it was just the inflation in freight.
Amazing.
So there was a huge demand, and people were overpaying for product because they were so desperate to get it, and they were really paying for these inflated freight rates. So, we worked our way through that, and the good news is where we are now is that we actually are in a deflationary business. So our retail prices have gone down dramatically because the freight rates have all changed.
Yeah.
Demand has changed. So if you didn't buy then, now's the time to
Now's
buy
the
because
time to buy.
in
Well,
fact things have changed.
That's important
Right.
because my wife and I did not buy because I felt uncomfortable. I wasn't getting value.
Right.
I could feel the inflated price in a
Right.
way that made me uncomfortable. So that's a good piece of information to let the listeners know that now's a great time.
Right, right. The other thing we saw, sorry, just on the double-edged sword from our perspective, is then you had a whole lot of people, there was so much demand, so a lot of people got into the category or
Right.
expanded the category who really aren't expert at it, really didn't understand it. So now we see there's a glut of product around the market.
Yeah, so you're talking about all these big box stores, a department-like stores that
Yeah.
added this category.
Yeah, I mean, the Wall Street Journal were reporting that Target, for instance, had container loads of outdoor furniture that was sitting on their lots, et cetera, et cetera. So we also had, we had this other problem is that once everything settled down, you have an oversupply of often overinflated product where they had very high freight rates. They're trying to discount it and get rid of it. That's obviously one of the headwinds that we face now. It's kind of dissipating, but it is certainly a headwind.
So something that you shared while we were on break, or two or three of the services that you have that, again, you're not just talking about great value in high quality, offerings, but a great value from a service standpoint. Share some of the other programs you have beyond just selling
Sure.
all the different products.
So I mean, we really love and believe in this category, and we believe there's a real benefit to your lifestyle if you have a comfortable outdoor living area. You can
There
do
is.
stuff
I
outdoors,
love being outside.
and it's casual, entertaining, and it's just a great category to be in, I think. And
Yes.
and so one of the things we do is we have degree designers who work for us that we will send to people's homes, and we will do a design. We will do a space plan so that you're getting the most value out of your outdoor furniture. We're in a category above sort of the big box stores, so our furniture is good value, but it is pricier than you would get at
Right.
a Lowe's or a Home Depot.
But it's going to last a lot longer too.
Sure.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, so we'll go, we'll design, we'll give you the best floor or space plan that we can. We'll look at your space, we'll understand your lifestyle. That's been very successful for us. We also introduced what we also realized there was a huge demand for refurbishing furniture or refinishing, especially teak products or wood products, bringing them back to new, redoing slings where there's sling product, or remaking cushions. So we added that service. Actually, post-COVID, we really got into it. We saw this huge demand. Then we saw it normalized, and we saw what opportunities are there in the business. And this was an add-on that we introduced about 2 years ago. It's been tremendously successful
And I
for us.
didn't know you did that. That is an
this is
exceptional
fantastic.
new service.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
And in fact, what happens is people book us, and then they just say, "Oh, we'll come back." They just make an appointment for the following year to either refinish. So if it's wood, they want it done every year or every 18 months. So it's actually become almost an annuity business to us.
One of the things that's happened in our area, right, sort of the Southeast, is that this outdoor living, it is a lifestyle we're very
is.
used to. I just got back from Las Vegas.
Right.
They don't come outside in the summer.
Correct.
I mean, they can't. It's so hot.
Right.
We get the benefit of being outdoors
Right.
probably 9, sometimes some years 10 months out of the year.
Yeah, it's
Correct.
phenomenal.
So you are sitting in the middle of the place that your customers get the most benefit
Sure.
for your services.
Sure.
Now, I'm curious with us being, 3.5 to 4 hours from the beach and, 1 hours from the mountains, how much business do you get from those, because a lot of times you'll have a homeowner here that has a place there
Sure.
or there, and they just, they're going to keep buying from you.
Sure. And we
yeah.
we service the mountains, we service the beach. We have trucks going to kind of the Charleston area to
Perfect. Yeah, I would assume so.
Wilmington. And then a lot of our customers have mountain homes.
Yeah.
So, we it's funny. We may be doing we may have done 2 or 3 homes for a customer. We're now doing their children's homes.
Yes.
It's just
That's you.
extraordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about the outdoor kitchen. It is one of those one of those things that I see so often in friends' homes,
Right.
and it's just a warming
Right.
part of the outdoors that isn't as common as you would think it should be. I'm curious to know what's the what's the word I want to use? The matrix for installing something like that. It I find it intriguing.
Right. Well, the traditional outdoor kitchen has been you get a stonemason and they build the stone kitchen and they put on a concrete slab or they get a granite top. And that means tearing up your yard, and there's a lot of work. So the so what stops people from doing it, they might like it, but what stops them from doing it is the amount of work involved. You often may have to get a permit, et cetera, et cetera.
Right, good point. Yeah.
So we've got 2 vendors where we've worked with where we can do a prefabricated kitchen in marine grade aluminum or in a stainless steel, which can be powder coated to any color, where we make the kitchen in a factory, we design it for the customer, and we literally can install it in a day.
Wow.
That's a whole nother world.
That is a whole nother, and it sounds like it could almost be portable. Is that?
Yeah, you could take it with you if you left.
Wow.
So
that's great.
So, and what that gives you is, I think, if you've got a nice, beautiful deck with beautiful furniture, the last thing you want is a cart grill on your deck.
Mm-hmm.
This is another piece of furniture that finishes off the area. You can put an ice maker in, you can put a beer keg, you can have a refrigerator. Even people put in a dishwasher so that you.
Yeah, I've seen that. I have seen that. Yes.
So we've only got about 3 minutes or so left. Again, remind everybody where your store is.
Right. So off exit 18 on 77. WT Harris, and as you get off the highway, we're on the west side.
And I would tell you, when I've come to your store, I just enjoy walking around. It really does give me a good feeling.
Well, and I'd like to add it's exit 21 off of 485 for those swinging around 485.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah.
How do you know that?
Because I go 485 all the time. So everyone knows how accessible it really is.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there is an experience to the retail feel of your store. Talk a little bit about that.
So, I mean, one of the things is first of all, we have very tenured staff. So we have mature, I don't want to say overly mature, but we've got people who've been around for a long time. They really understand the category, which is really helpful. So we don't have any part-time people. We don't have any hourly people. We really have a professional group of people. The other thing is that people who are buying our product, it's a fun product. It's not a,
I agree.
It's a want to have. It's not a have to have. You don't resent the purchase. You're excited about the purchase.
Right. You're not being forced because something broke down, right?
Yeah. And we want to
I just experienced that recently.
And I think our energy is we want to be excited with you.
Yeah.
That's really what it's about. And
you feel that when you walk.
Sure. And it is fun. It's a fun category, and we really the dream is you're going to improve your lifestyle at some level is what we're trying to do with customers. And
so at the last minute, what is a big trend do you think of off the top of your head?
I would say one of the trends that we are seeing is that people are buying more and more lounge furniture. I think if you went back 10 years ago, the idea was to buy dining furniture.
I couldn't fit in it.
You're right. Right. And I would say what we've seen in the last 10 years is that most people are spending more and more energy and time on their lounge furniture. They really want to relax and try and make the most. Try and make it an entertaining area. So
right.
Grant, thank you so much, sir. We appreciate you being here. Julie's got your address on Facebook as well. Thank you, sir, for being here.
All right. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
You are listening to Local Biz Now, where your business matters. We'll see you next week.